everyone, and welcome to the Dissecting Fiction podcast. I'm Vinny Murphy.
I'm Christian Cutlick.
And today we have another of our ongoing bold predictions. I feel like the bold predictions are getting a quicker turnaround because we're sitting in our houses not being able to do anything.
Yeah, and we have a lot of time to research and watch things and
Yeah, we're
kind
just
of come
thinking
up
about
with
things more. And also probably eating too many snacks. I know I have been.
I have been eating lots of these.
I have a prediction concerning Disney Plus, which, something I've been watching a lot of. Star Wars has really kind of taken the front seat of all of Disney Plus, which I think is interesting. Season 2 of The Mandalorian apparently did wrap before any of the COVID issues popped up, in the US at least. And it seems like it's going to come out on time from what I've seen. They're going to jump into that Cassian Andor show real quick once they can. And they've started talking quite a bit about that, how it's going to be set 5 years prior to Rogue One. Clone Wars, I won't ruin it for you if you haven't watched it, but if you watched the earlier seasons of Clone Wars and are a big Star Wars fan, you need to watch the new season. Things are coming together in a very different way. There are rumors of Ahsoka being in season 2 of The Mandalorian, if not season 3. My bold prediction is that they're not going to bother with a Star Wars movie. That one that's scheduled for 2022 is not happening. They're going to keep going on Disney Plus for the foreseeable future because they found a way to tell the types of stories that they want to for Star Wars, that Star Wars fans are enjoying, and aren't going to get that harsh scrutiny that they do if it's a theatrical release.
Do you think it's going to just become like Star Wars Plus instead?
I think Star Wars is, I think, look, it would have been more balanced if the situation was different. But it sounds like we're not getting Winter Soldier and Falcon on time. It sounds like WandaVision might not be coming out on time because now they've delayed Doctor Strange. And supposedly there's a lot of connections between the two. I think Star Wars accidentally became the top brand on Disney Plus.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like that, especially since like Mandalorian was the launch title, and they weren't sure how successful that was going to be.
Yeah, and since it was largely successful, I think they're just going to keep moving forward. I think that I was legitimately worried that the Cassian Andor thing was not coming out. I thought that might be like, that project they talk about that, is like, oh, yeah, we wanted to do that. I was like, oh, no, the support wasn't there. It stinks. Too bad. We're going to move on to something else. We're going to do this Boba Fett show. I think The Mandalorian, changed the game on Disney Plus, both in the mindset of the creators and from, an executive level where it's like, okay, this is all everyone's talking about. Let's get more grounded anthology-like Star Wars content on here because when we did it in theaters, even though now there is this sort of appreciation, Rogue One kind of from the beginning had a large portion of people who loved it, but now even Solo is kind of building fan base again. I think that they're right to do it that way. I think it's the way to go, and I think they're going to.
I'd agree that it'd probably be the best way. I think this is something that's been speculated on before, but the COVID issues have made it more clear, and especially with Clone Wars, that new season being so talked about now, and you have Disney has a way and people can catch up now because Clone Wars is 6 seasons, and that's a lot of content to watch. But because people have Disney Plus, they can watch it all. It's not like how it used to be where you had to catch reruns and things like that.
Oh, right, and I think that's a big thing that plays into it too. Is it's that pressure of having to go to a Star Wars movie every year, that idea of oh, here's another Star Wars movie. I guess I'm going to see a Star Wars movie. It's different when you're at home. It's different where it's just oh, I like Star Wars. Oh, here's a new Star Wars thing. All right, I've already paid for it. I can't imagine that they're not looking at this and going we just saved this brand.
Yeah, because I think because Star Wars movies are supposed to be big events, and that was something George Lucas was very careful about. And I think we kind of talked about this on the Disney Star Wars episode. That was kind of one of the big missteps, is that they try to make every single one of these Star Wars films massively important to the lore, game changing.
Yeah, and now you have an opportunity to do that as a surprise in the middle of a season and really throw people off. And not like I just said, like not have that pressure of just like expecting everyone to be going to the Star Wars movie every year, and you get the same effect. You keep that brand relevant, and like where this all came from, it became the top brand on Disney Plus because a million factors, but it happened.
Right, and you still get to keep that gritty aspect of Star Wars that was like so crucial to the originals and what came afterwards.
You're not changing everything for that because of how good TV can be now.
All right, so my bold prediction is based around the company Riot Games, which makes League of Legends. And recently, they've been releasing a couple of games outside of League of Legends, which has been their thing for like a fucking decade. They released a new card game called Legends of Runeterra, which is based on League of Legends lore, and it's basically Hearthstone, but with some twist to it. And then Valorant, which is kind of their Overwatch competitor. And Valorant is kind of a mix of Counter-Strike with some like Overwatch element. And they announced a TV show too. Part of my bold prediction is that I don't think Valorant is going to do super well. It's doing well right now because in order to get into the closed beta, you have to watch it on Twitch. So you're kind of roping in people that way. But I think as Riot expands, I think they would become the next big video game studio on the tier of Blizzard. And I think they will overtake Blizzard in that way. And I think like I said, this is going to be a really bold prediction. I think they're going to come out with an MMO sometime in like the next 3 or 4 years. They're going to announce an MMO.
Okay. Yeah, I'm a little out of that. I never could really get into either MMOs or like any of the like online strategy stuff. Was never super big, but I know that the amount of money made within those online games is pretty substantial.
Yeah, no, especially with like Riot, especially has been getting a lot of funding from like Chinese companies, and that's both a good and a terrible thing because Chinese companies get very aggressive about like pushing forward new products and like really expanding the company. And we're seeing that
Right.
now this year. Like they have a show coming out, they have a new shooter coming out, they have a card game coming out. And I think they're going to try to really take over the market Blizzard has because Blizzard has been shooting themselves in the foot over and over again. And I think Riot is going to see that as an opportunity to kind of come in with something new, especially since they have like a whole big like League of Legends lore, like this giant Wikipedia pages about it, and it's not even like a story. There's like all these books and stuff on it, and it's just interesting to kind of see this company evolve, and they have a lot of the structures that Blizzard doesn't. Like League of Legends has been doing esports since 2011. And they've been doing that since then, and Blizzard has only really got into it since like maybe 2015. So Blizzard's really playing catch up to these other companies.
Which is like mind-boggling considering like what people used to do for LAN stuff for like StarCraft 2.
Right. And like League of Legends came out of like Warcraft 3. They just like made a game very similar to Defense of the Ancients in Warcraft 3. And then Blizzard never got on top of it. And now I think Blizzard's seeing like how much they fucked up. And they're trying to play catch up. And right now they're like driving Overwatch into the ground. WoW has a new expansion coming out, but like the last expansion was pretty terrible. They basically killed the StarCraft scene. They killed their Hearthstone scene. They have a Diablo coming out, but who knows when that's actually going to be released.
Right.
So I think we're going to see Blizzard really like tanking in the next few years, and we're going to really see Riot like taking over a lot of the markets.
Yeah, an interesting prediction. And like we said this, we're working on something very video game based for the main shows. We're kind of waiting on. Should we say what company we're waiting on? We're waiting on.
Yeah.
We're waiting on a Konami property to straighten something out for the U.S. and then we're going to talk about it. It's not Metal Gear.
Oh god.
That might happen.
I both dread and like look forward to talking about here.
Yeah, I feel like there is a Metal Gear episode, folks. That was a video episode. We might dig that out if we decide to open that Patreon. Hey, we started doing video previews, so maybe that'll happen too. We have all these plans. But I think that brings our bold predictions for this week to a close. I'm Vinny Murphy.
I'm Christian Kotlik.
Make sure you check us out on all the different social media platforms. Just type in Dissecting Fiction. rate us, follow us, do all that. Be sure to check out toystoreguide.com and your local comic book stores to make sure that you are supporting them in this difficult time, and we will talk to you soon.